Right, so the wait for the spring-loaded event is nearly over, and today we have a last-minute report regarding what we could expect at the event, right from the iPad Pro to the iPad mini and the iPad 9. But also on top of that, we have information that we could see, and I quote, "There could be a few surprises at the event," and that gets me tingling, so let's delve into what that could mean for the event that's literally taking place in just a few hours. So let's begin with the crux of the report. They mentioned new iPads would be on the way, specifically the iPad Pro, the iPad mini, and the iPad 9. Now to recap, the main upgrades with the iPad Pro is going to be a mini LED display on the bigger version, and then Thunderbolt, A14X chip, more RAM, obviously a new gold color, and better cameras. And well, this part of the report makes a lot of sense because we know that new iPad Pros are on the way. We have got confirmation from way more credible sources like Mr. Mark Gurman. And so yes, I do believe we will definitely see new iPad Pros at this event. But they do give us one new tidbit that's a little interesting, and that is there will be a modest price increase with the iPad Pro range. Now yes, I know this is disappointing news, but this is to be expected since Mini LED is a new technology for Apple, and so whenever Apple gives us something new, they're gonna increase the price. That's literally what we come to expect every single year, and so that could be the case with the 12.9-inch iPad Pro with Mini LED. As for how much this price increase will be, we don't know because Wedbush analyst says literally nothing except it would be a modest price increase, and so that leads me to believe that maybe we could see a $50 to $100 price increase with the bigger iPad Pro. But for all those 11-inch fans out there, you can rejoice because thanks to the lack of Mini LED on the smaller model, I think we should see no price increase with the 11-inch Wi-Fi version, though do note, the 5G version might come with the 5G tax, and so expect a higher price with that model specifically, but we should not expect any increase in price with the 11-inch Wi-Fi version. Wedbush also goes on to say that we can expect Apple Pencil 3 at this event, and that makes a lot of sense because we have seen a lot of leaked images and videos of Apple Pencil 3 with a glossy finish, which obviously I am 100% against, but either way, it's happening and we should expect some big improvements in terms of haptics, maybe an inbuilt color picker, and also gestures, which will be pretty cool. Right, so let's now address the iPad 9 and the iPad mini 6. So initially we did have a lot of rumors regarding these iPads launching in spring, but then the rumors just stopped, and so a lot of us assumed we would see these iPads later in the year instead. But now Wedbush out of nowhere just claims that yes, these are still on track to launch at the April event, and honestly there is a chance that we could see the iPad mini, purely because we did see a leak from Sonny Dixon showcasing the iPad mini 6, allegedly, which practically looks identical to the iPad mini 5, and so it's very possible we could see an iPad mini 6 that looks identical to the current model but with a new chip at this event instead. Especially since Kang, a very reliable source, did say the iPad mini redesign that a lot of us have been waiting for is still in early development. It leads me to believe we might not see that redesign till 2022, possibly alongside the new iPad Air 5 that could also launch early next year. So basically, to summarize, we should see a minor iPad mini refresh this year, and maybe the redesign to coincide with the 10th anniversary of the iPad mini in 2022. But the iPad 9 I'm not so sure about because obviously we have seen the regular iPads being refreshed in September for the last few years, and so there really is no reason for Apple to break that cycle and release the iPad 9 much earlier instead. Obviously, since this is largely based on the iPad Air 3, which in itself was based on the iPad Pro 10.5-inch, it is likely that maybe because this iPad is insanely cheap and easy to make, Apple of course might want to cash in on this pandemic and make as much money as possible, and so giving us a new iPad 9 that's laminated, has much better performance, has more RAM, more storage, a cheaper price, etc, that could really do well in the peak of COVID. And so maybe that's Apple's thinking, and maybe that's why they are thinking of releasing this a little earlier. Right, so let's now move on to the surprises we could see at this event. And basically they say it could be iMacs, AirTags, and AirPods 3. Right, so beginning with the iMac, this is what I'm looking forward to seeing at the event, and I am pretty sure we're seeing it because we've seen so much evidence, whether it be leaked codes and even leaks from very credible sources, and so I do think we are definitely seeing some sort of iMac at this event. But my prediction is that we only see the iMac Air at this event, so the base model that replaces the $1099 iMac, I think that's what we're seeing at the event with M1 and the new iPad Air-like colors. But if you were hoping to see the M1X iMacs, I think they're releasing much later in 2021, possibly at WWDC or maybe even later. But yes, I think the 24-inch and 32-inch iMac Pros will launch a little later. Next on the list is AirTags, and we have been waiting for these forever now, and so yes, I am pretty sure we are seeing this at the event, and of course they have been leaked into oblivion. We know so much about them, and so we are definitely seeing AirTags at the event. But the last surprise they mention is what's a little sus to me, because they say we could see AirPods 3. And yes, we do have a lot of leaked images of AirPods 3, but you might be able to recall that we haven't seen any AirPods announced on stage since the original back in 2016. And so that leads me to believe that AirPods 3 won't be announced on stage. Instead, it could be a press release in May or some other month of this year. But what is really weird is that Wedbush believes we could see AirPods 3 teased at the spring event, and then they could release to the public a little later in early summer. Now this makes no sense to me at all, because why would Apple announce AirPods 3 and then release them months later? Because that surely would just cripple sales of the existing AirPods, because of course everyone would know that new ones are coming later in the year. And so this is the part of the report that I just don't believe. So yeah, I don't think that's happening. I think we're seeing AirPods 3 in May possibly, since we do have a few press releases usually between spring events and Dub, and so we could see press releases for a few products, including AirPods 3 in the month of May. Oh, by the way, I nearly forgot, but there is one more less exciting rumor, and that is Apple could be launching another subscription service. This time, it's Apple Podcast Plus, because yes, they're turning the podcast app into a bloody subscription too. So Steve Moss and Peter Kafka found in iOS 14.5 code reference to a new podcast subscription service that could be launching as soon as tomorrow. And honestly, I feel like this is kind of pointless, especially since no one really offers a podcast subscription service as far as I know. Obviously, Spotify has their exclusives, but they are free to listen to, and so I'm not sure what the pull would be behind a podcast subscription service. I feel like this is going to flop really badly, but they could save this by either including it with Apple One or maybe an Apple Music subscription, and so that way people can of course experience the extra features of Apple Podcast Plus, but without paying any additional price. But knowing Timothy and Apple, he obviously is not going to do that. He wants people to pay for this service alone, and so I could see this being around $5 per month, which I think will be an absolute waste of money. But let me know in the comments below, are you interested in paying for Podcast Plus? So yes, that is all for this last minute report. Obviously, the great thing is we don't have to wait too long to find out whether this report was true or not. And of course, let me know in the comments below, which products are you looking forward to seeing at the April event? Anyways, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumors. Check out the video in the icon above about the new iPad Pro. And on that note, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya, peeps.